Hi, everybody, and welcome to Home-Based Business Review with me, your host, Carl Douglas. And I'm excited to share with you basically a gentleman who has done it all. And I mean done it all. We have Mr. DrStan Harris. Mr. DrStan Harris, are you there?
I'm here, my brother. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing fine. I'm telling you, I'm excited because not only are you a master marketer, but what I love the fact is me and you have something in common. We're into martial arts. That's another love.
Yes, sir.
That we have in common. But let's start at the beginning. Where did your journey start? Let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, let me say I appreciate you and again being the incredible host that you are, and all the great things that you have done, and now again wanting to give back to the community. And so I always appreciate my beautiful wife Nadia. I call her my ABCD. We always say, by the way, ABCD, adorable brown caramel delight. But we say if it's not win win win, we're not in. But whenever it's win win win, we're all the way in. And I appreciate your win 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 perspective and so forth, and how now you want to give back to the community. So I appreciate you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Well, my journey started originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And at 3 years of age, my dad left home, never called, never sent mom a dime, and that was it. He was gone. At 6 years of age, I was out in the middle of the field playing. Now, we lived in the ghettos, a rough section of town. And a gang of teenagers were coming my way. I was only 6 years of age, and I looked up. You know how your body kind of gives you signals like something's wrong, right?
Yes, right.
And, some people say something good is about to happen to you. I didn't get that feeling. That and my body was telling me something bad's going to happen. But I was so afraid. I tell people now I should have been propelled by my fear, but I was paralyzed by my fear. And I froze in my tracks. And I figured, by the way, they were teenagers. I'm only 6. If I tried to run, they could outrun me. And again, I'll never know because I never gave it a shot. And how many people would never know in life because they never even gave it a shot? And anyway, the one guy grabbed me, bam, hit me in the stomach. I don't know if you ever had the air knocked out of you before, but you're like, trying to breathe, you can't breathe, And I'm crying out for mom. I'm crying out for help. I'm just crying like somebody help me. And one after another, they just start pulverizing, beating all over me. And one of them picks me up and slams me on the ground like as if they were watching WWE. And then they start all stomping. Again, I'm a 6-year-old boy. I'm crying out. I'm screaming. They stomp all over me like I'm an ant or roach. They start kicking all over me. And literally, I'm bleeding from everywhere you can bleed, from every orifice. And you would think that was enough. That wasn't enough for these guys. One of them flipped me over on my back where I was face up, and they took a great big old bucket of tar, poured that tar on my face. They poured it on my body, took a bunch of feathers, and they threw them on me, and they left me there.
Wow.
And a traumatic situation. I almost died. Thank God the tar wasn't hot, but it was thick. I almost suffocated. Somebody finally got me to the hospital, got me taken care of. And but my life, in the beginning, my life was a mess. I went through obviously the physical abuse. One of my mom's boyfriends beat me with a steel choker chain for a dog, a fiberglass, bow and arrow set. And obviously the racial abuse and sexual abuse, and my life was just a mess. Matter of fact, I tried to commit suicide on 2 occasions before I was 12 years of age. And I always tell my audiences, I'm so glad I failed, because suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And now I get to live the life beyond my dreams, but I could have snuffed it all out when I was in that hopeless situation. So I love now giving people hope, HOPE, hold on, pain ends, HOPE, hope, having only positive expectations. Come on, somebody.
Yes, I hear you there. Man, your life is like my life. Actually, when I was in the 5th grade, I got jumped in by 4 boys, okay? My wife said, you can go ahead and get you some tap dancing shoes, or you can go take up martial arts. Which one do you want? And of course, you know what I picked. After that, when I got into the 8th grade, I found those 4 boys. And of course, revenge is sweet. I can tell you that much. But yeah, so let's talk about when in your life you decided that you wanted to start your own home-based business. Where did that journey start?
Well, okay, I'll tell you about that, but can I first just give a quick little story? Like I said, because of that traumatic situation, I wanted to learn how to protect myself. And incidentally, my mom won a free month of karate lessons. And so people call coincidence. I say coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. So she started in what's called Shotokan karate. I went and I watched. Now I got brothers, none of them were interested. I'm watching, they're kicking, chopping, screaming, hollering, and I'm thinking, man, this stuff is great. Well, my mom's free month runs out. She starts paying. Free is good, but when you're really serious, you're really to invest. And so every month she paid her dues, and every month she got better and better. And to Carl, one month she got too good. Now you got to ask me what's too good. Got to ask me what's too good.
What is too good?
Her and her boyfriend got in a fight and she knocked him out. So when I saw my 5'1" mother knock out a 6'1" brother, I was like, man, whatever this karate stuff is, I got to learn it. So I got started in Ishinu karate. And man, that's been, oh my goodness, 54 years ago now. So anyway, now we've been blessed to, 53 years ago. And so now, my friend, we retired many years ago as a heavyweight champion with Karate World Rating System. And we happen to be one of 110th degree black belts, and been blessed to be voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. Okay. Well, what happened was at my church, they would have me do demonstrations and speak in my testimonial. And somebody heard me that was in home-based business. And he's like, man, I want to invite you out to dinner. Well, I didn't know, man. They started drawing the circles. And so anyway, but I wasn't interested because my pastor back then, for some reason, was against home-based business. And so I actually, as a youngster, started even preaching, doing my martial arts demonstration and preaching. So I was like 20 years before the power team. Well, at one point, one of the guys that I introduced to Christ, Myron Golden, who's now Dr. Myron Golden,
yes.
So we mentored him in preaching and also in martial arts and so forth. And then he said to me one day, he said, Doc, I'm paying thousands of dollars to go to these meetings and learn. He said, you do naturally what they're teaching. He said, man, if you ever did home-based business, it would just explode. And at that time, I didn't understand. I was like, well, I'm just interested in ministering, And so he explained to me, he said, well, people spend most of the time out of church. So if you limit yourself to just influencing them then, so he said, think about it. People like you to have character, that love people, that care about people, you should have the major influence. He said, if you teach people how to make money, they can make more money when they come to church. They can give more to church. And so I was like, he got me. So I got started in home-based business, and he was right. I went right to the top, the first company, right to the top, the second company. And so we've been blessed to be the top of 9 different companies. As a matter of fact, at one point in my career, I was a #1 income earner and #1 recruiter in 3 companies simultaneously. And that's when everybody was talking about you can only do one thing. I told my wife, since they want to live based on their limiting beliefs, let's don't mess up their paradigm. So don't let them know what I'm doing. But here's what I found out what happened, though, in my case was because I was already personally developed, because as you know, as a martial artist, the self-discipline, right? So one of the things we learned is if while you practice, you don't want to quit, you haven't really practiced. So in other words, you got to work out till your body says I had enough and your will says no, keep going. Well, in home-based business, as soon as it got tough and everybody's ready to quit, I'm thinking we must be doing something right now, right? Because and so they were looking at me like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, we're all discouraged. I'm like, discouraged? No, that means you're doing something right. You got to, we got to keep on. So at any rate, but yeah, so as a matter of fact, one company we were able to personally sponsor 898 people, and that blossomed into 1.5 million people worldwide. And people kept begging me, man, you got to write a book. You got to teach us these things. And so I wrote a book called How to Build a Big Team Fast. And to teach people some of these principles. And one of them is very, very simple. And that is work on yourself while you work the system. In other words, be working on your personal development. And that's what I love what you're doing with your show and helping people and so forth. But then work the system. In every company, you want to find out who's the top earners and find out what system, because top earners always learn to work systems. See, if a person is making a lot of money and having a lot of success, they're utilizing systems. If they're frustrated, they're not utilizing systems. Right. And so systems, save yourself time, energy, money. And so anyway, so that's one of the main principles, the first principles that I teach. And so while you work on yourself, you also work the system, because the more you work on yourself, the easier the system works, and you'll find yourself having great success.
You know what? That's true. Also, let's talk about type of systems you're talking about. I know it's going to be in your book, but give them a little bit of that. What kind of systems we're talking about?
Well, again, many people now, one of the simple things that I teach is and again, every company has their own systems.
Yes.
Some people have internet strategies. Some people, now I'm high touch, and I tell people these days we have a lot of high tech. And I always say when you mix high touch with high tech, you get a bigger check, a higher check, right? So anyway, but one of the systems that I always use is called, if you can point, you can get paid. In other words, so here's what happens. Most people think that I have to, and again, based on people's personalities, but most people still think, well, I need to learn this stuff. And once I learn it, I can be good at sharing it with others. No. The best people in this industry are just real good at just pointing. And so I always tell people, mom always told me it's not polite to point, but I'm like, if you're going to be successful in this industry, I always tell people, hold up your finger and say this after me. If I can point, I can get paid. And what do I mean by that? You want to point people to the existing systems. You want to point people whether they have a webinar, a webinar that they have that goes on 24/7, or whether they have a conference call, whether they have a Zoom, just point and get paid. Point to your, what people would call upline. I call senior success line, because success line means each of us creates a success for the rest of us. So I may have contact with this person, but my senior success line is going to have, he's going to have the respect. They're going to have the respect. And so if you can just point them to the senior success line, this person that's already successful in the industry, already making more money than you're making, and at least in that business, if you can just point them, then you can get paid. So again, whatever their system is, but again, pointing them to the so-called upline, what I call the senior success line, pointing them to the Zoom, pointing them to the webinar. For instance, there's different companies that have different things. Like another thing is, some of these companies, they have a landing page, right? And a landing page captures people's information, but it usually has a nice little, so again, just pointing them to that, and the more you can point, the more you can get paid. And so here's, I always tell people this. Number one, you don't have to be the deal. Number two, you just have to point them to the deal. Because number three, the more you point them to the deal, the more they start associating you with the deal. And then number four, eventually they start thinking you're the deal. Then number five, you have to become like me and have to try to convince them that you're not the deal is the deal, and I'm not the deal, right? So it's kind of like they asked John the Baptist, they said, are you the one? He's like, no. John said, no, I'm just pointing. I'm just telling you about somebody who's coming. But guess what? One day in Jesus' ministry, he said, who do people say that I am? And they said, well, some say you're John the Baptist. In other words, John the Baptist is this guy who said, I'm nothing but a voice. I'm not the one. I'm just pointing you to the one. But because he did, eventually people started thinking, wait a minute. You're always pointing us to this guy, and this guy is, so you must be something too. And then eventually, like I said, Jesus said, well, who do they say I am? And he said, some say you're John the Baptist. So eventually they started thinking John was the deal, right? And so that's very simple, but it's very powerful. And that's how I've been able to go to the top of many companies. Because again, I wasn't, well, because I've got all these doctor's degrees, I need to know the answers. No. The only answer I need to know is how to point them where they can get the answers, and then sit back. And matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a quick story. There's a guy, a number one income earner, I won't call his name, many years ago. Most of us in this industry had started off in the late 80s, all respected this guy, but he had a booming business, and that's way back when he had the VHS. And Carl, you remember those, right?
Oh, yeah.
He would invite people over house and just pop in the VHS of the presentation, and they would watch it, and of course, invite guests. And the guests, you say, hey, how many you ready to get started? And they get started and they fill out the paperwork, bam. Well, after hearing it so many times, he's like, man, I got this memorized. Matter of fact, I probably could say it better than the VHS itself. So then he did a change, and he thought he was doing a change for the better. And he stopped the VHS. He still had people come over and had people invite other people. He himself would give the presentation. And Carl, he was so good. He was so polished. He was so powerful. It was like amazing. But all of a sudden, he noticed his check started going down. And he could feel like, wait a minute, what is going on? And here's what was going on. See, when he was just popping in that VHS, all the people sitting there's like, wait a minute, that's all you got to do? Just invite people over and pop in the VHS. And so it was like, it's like pointing and getting paid. Okay, I can do that. But then when he was able to stand up there and do the presentation and answer all these things and speak with this powerful language and flowery words, all the people sitting back there saying, oh my goodness, I got to learn all that stuff. I can never do that. And so it short-circuited and cut everything off. The greatest book ever written says, and the things which thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. So you got to make it so simple, so easy. It's like somebody says, not what works is what duplicates. So you got to be able to teach something so simple that those that hear you can do it, but not just do it. They in turn can teach others, who in turn can teach others. And as long as he was popping in that VHS, everybody was thinking, I can do that. But as soon as he stood up and started speaking, which of course, one of the greatest fears is the fear of public speaking. And they were thinking, I can't do that. And so they all stopped. They stopped inviting new people. And in their mind, they just said, I can't do that. So it's enough. It's over. And then he realized what he thought was like a breakthrough was actually a breakdown. And he needed to go back to doing what? Pointing and getting paid.
That's right. You said something that was really important. If a person don't believe they can do that, they won't be able to do it. They already feel in their mind. So the minute they open their mouth, the person they talk to is going to feel that they don't have that confidence. So they're not going to follow them. Okay. So you're right about that. That's very important. Once again, just for our audience here, once again, this is Carl Douglas. You are on Home-Based Business Review with Carl Douglas. Today, our guest is DrStan Harris. Okay.
Wait, you're not just a Carl Douglas. You the brother like no other. You the master disaster. You can't say it no faster. You too strong to be weak, too sweet to be sour. You can't take credit as all God and your wife's power.
Yes, yes, come on. Yes. And if you haven't yet, take your pad out, close your door, get your pencil sharpener or your pen, and take some notes here, because a lot of times when you hear something, you just hear it, and you're not going to be able to hold on to that. But if you write it down, guess what? That's 60% of something that you can go back to. Writing it down, even though you think you can remember it, write it down. See, I have my pad here, right here, okay? And I'm writing down things he says. And I've been doing this for over 25 years. A lot of you know me because of my background. But listen, I'm a student no matter what and who I'm talking to. I know if a person makes more than me or have something that they can drop to my knowledge or for my mind, I'm going to listen. So, take that suit off and knock off that chip off your shoulder, no matter how long or how old you are, how long you've been married or whatever, how many kids you have. It doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is you got to continue to listen and learn. Make sense? Listen and learn. So, I heard about.
By the way, Carl, can I also throw in real quick? I always tell people, they probably heard this, note takers are money makers, but Dr. Breakthrough also says, but action takers are bigger money makers. And so it's important to take notes, but even more important to take action on the notes that you took. And again, you and I as martial artists, we learned it as martial. See, we didn't go to martial arts declarations. We went to martial arts practice. And we had to do the same things over and over and over and over and over and over. And sometimes that's what hurts this industry, because some people think just because they heard it and they're aware of it, but there's a big difference between just knowing something or hearing something, being aware of it, and actually implementing it. And so again, that's why I appreciate what you're doing with this, because sometimes you got to hear something 7 times, 7 different ways, or from 7 different people before they get it. And I'm just glad for those of you who get it on this time with me.
Yes. It's one thing that I've learned, no matter what company I sign up with, companies are coming and going. Think about it. They could be overseas, it could be here in the United States, no matter what. You have to be a master at marketing. You have to be a master at marketing. You have to be a master of listening to other people's concerns and their problems. We're problem solvers. We're not salespeople. Okay. Number one. So for those of you who are listening, you will get a chance to go ahead, and we'll see you back. Go ahead and make your notes, put your notes in here. The next time we invite the doctor back on, we're going to address some of those questions. Okay. For you right now, this is not Facebook Live. This is a pre-recording. The next time we have the doctor on, we will have it on Facebook Live. We have it on YouTube Live. We're going to be broadcasting through our app as well. But you need to understand, for this gentleman to drop these mountains of nuggets, okay, like you said, it's about action, okay? Knowledge is good, but if you don't apply it, it's nothing. It's zero, okay? That's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. They think they know it all. They think that, I can do it, and they go out and they fail.
Hey, am I back yet?
Just put it to action. You said something, doctor. I'm sorry.
Hey, yeah, the power went off, but I'm trying to tie into my phone now. Can you?
I see you. You're clear. You're clear, and I can hear you.
Okay, because you're breaking up a little bit on me. So anyway, hey, there's a way.
So you're streaming fine, okay? And
Okay.
and the volume is your voice. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. My lights are off, so I look a little darker there, but that's okay. So anyway, go ahead. We'll see if we can continue on. And by the way, let me say this, folks. One of the things you're going to learn is you have problems, and your problems may be big, but your potential is even bigger. Oh, come on, somebody say that.
There you go. There you go. You're preaching now, Now, the good thing about this good man is he loves the Lord. And a lot of I love the Lord. Okay, we just lost for a minute. So let me go ahead and I'll wait till he gets back. But here, let me give you some good stuff here. Like I said, we're going to bring him back. But just remember, you need the education. You're going to need the know-how. So we're going to try to address those questions and give you some know-how. Okay. Now, a little bit more about what we're doing on the show here. We are interviewing successful online and offline marketers. These people have been doing this for many years. These people have been successful no matter where they've been, what they have done. Definitely stay tuned to our show, okay? Because a lot of times these people, it costs a lot of money to get these people to come and speak for you. And some of the questions I'm going to ask them are questions that you guys want to hear the answers to. And so definitely bring in those questions. If you don't see me ask some of these questions, next time we get them on the line, we are going to definitely ask them some of those questions that you guys have, okay? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, let's see here. Okay, we got that there. Okay, so what I want to do is just talk about why it's important to understand marketing. If you don't get people coming in on your website, if you don't get people coming to your brick and mortar business, or if you don't understand people, okay, once again, you notice I said understand people. You got to find out what people want, and you want to give them the answer to their problem. It's not about you. It's not how much money you made. People don't care about how much money you made. They want to know if you can help them reach their goals that they're telling you they want to achieve. Solve those problems with them, okay? So you have to ask the right kind of questions. One of the number one questions I ask people is, why you want to start your own home-based business? What is the question? What's the answer to that? Can you tell me that? If you don't know that, you need to go figure that out before you even start your journey, because you will run into obstacles that's going to slow you down. And it's going to test you. People are going to test you. They're going to ask you a question to see if you committed to what you're doing, because people don't want to join something and find out later on within a week or so you're off to some other shiny object, or better yet, you stop answering the phone calls, because people, when they first start, they need help. They need help learning the skill of online marketing, especially now. People are at home wanting to know, how can I make some extra money so I can take care of my family? Do you know the answer to that? Do you believe in the answer? Number one thing is, when you start a business, the biggest and the hardest obstacle are, should I say, do you know what is the biggest obstacle? Think about that for a second. Before a person starts their business, what do you think is the number one obstacle? Okay, let me answer the question for you. It is getting started. Making the decision to get started. Remember that. That's very important. Okay? So, okay, let's do this here. Since he did not make it back, okay, I got to let you know, the next time we invite our guests online here, make sure you put your questions in so we can get them answered for you. All righty. So make sure that you do that. Okay. And I'm the host, Carl Douglas, with Home-Based Business Review. All right. And we're going to have a lot of things, a lot of guests coming up in the near future. So definitely don't forget to get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to, like I say, answer some of your questions. Also send you some emails Well, we'll get a hold of you and we'll keep you informed of what's going on. All right. But for right now, this is Carl Douglas from Home-Based Business Review saying thank you for coming and listening to our guest, who was DrStan Harris. He's the author of How to Build a Team Fast. He has a book called Your Breakthrough is Guaranteed. Mr. Stanley is, like I said, is a multi-millionaire, period. Okay, no matter where he goes, what he does, he is a person knows what he's doing. And keep this in mind. The secret to being successful faster is making sure that you find the right mentor that you can work with. Okay, remember that. Follow somebody who have done it and just do what they do. That's what I've done. Every time I go somewhere, I find out who's the leader in that particular company or in that particular market, affiliate marketing, and I get a hold of them and ask them, what are you doing? And if we're lucky, they tell us, guess what? I just do what they do. And that's always have been one of my big secrets. And another one is this, write this down. I work hard. When a lot of people want to give up, I guess I'm done for the day. I set a goal, what I'm going to do that day, and I won't stop until I achieve it. Sometimes it's like 12, 14 hours. But guess what? When I put in the work, I see the results. And if it's a residual income company I'm working with, guess what? Work hard and I can relax later, take my vacations and enjoy the beaches of the world. Go to Dubai, go to China, go to Japan, Australia, whatever. Okay. But you do have to work hard. Do not give up. When your body and your mind says give up, that's when the real work starts. All right. Once again, this is Carl from Home-Based Business Review. Looking forward to seeing you guys in my next show. Bye for now.